We don't believe in just giving our kids anything, right? If we give them a business, it'll be sold as soon as we hit the dirt. So we're not giving them anything, but we're teaching them entrepreneurship, right? So they value the hard work that we're putting into it today for tomorrow. And that's really the end goal for us. It can't stop with our children, because if our generational wealth only spans one generation, then we really didn't do much, to me, in our eyes. So it really has to benefit 4, 5, 6, 7 generations spawn off of us.
Most entrepreneurs strive for their children to also become entrepreneurs. Well, today's conversation definitely took a different path than I expected. Our guests today, they are very successful entrepreneurs. They even have their own TV show that you're going to hear them talk about a little bit. But their name is Krystal and Dedric Polite. They're husband and wife team with expertise in real estate investing and entrepreneurship. Their business expertise earned them a national TV show on A&E called 50/50 Flip. Krystal and Dedric are parents of 2 young sons and are passionate about passing their wealth generation secrets to others. Our conversation today, like I said, took different turns than I expected, but we're going to talk about, their focus on generational wealth and the business that they have created. It's incredible to hear all the different businesses that they've had. They've been in most asset classes in real estate. They've done a lot of different things. I'll go ahead and share with you their favorite, at least Krystal's, is multifamily. But man, they're growing, and they're going to talk about the husband and wife dynamic. Okay. But they're also going to talk about how they are teaching their boys, their children, referring to their oldest boy who's in 3rd grade, to have his own business. And I love that process of thinking through that, how they did this. And I think you are going to enjoy it also. Even how Krystal talked about giving back. I asked that question almost every interview. How do you like to give back? She listed off numerous things that I thought was very helpful. And depending on your type of business, could be a way for you to give back in a big way and helping lots of people to change their lives. So I hope that you'll listen to the end of the show, because you're going to learn a lot from this couple today. Krystal, Dedric, thank you for being on the show. I'm honored to have you on and get to meet you. And I'm looking forward to hearing some about your story. I know you have many specialties that have helped you all to grow quickly. And you've built a brand and just a following, and even your own TV show, which is very impressive. It's just incredible what you all have created. But also I want to talk about the husband and wife dynamic a little bit too. I get questions often about businesses that operate where husband and wife are doing things in the business together. So we're going to get to that. But first, give the listeners and myself a little more about you all and your business and your focus, and let's dive into the real estate.
Sure. Well, thanks for having us, Whitney. We really appreciate it. We are Dedric and Krystal Polite. We're full-time real estate investors. Our main goal is to build a portfolio so we can build generational wealth for our kids and for our families. To that end, we've amassed a portfolio of over 60 units, buy and hold units. We flipped tons of houses, which helped us land our own national television show on A&E called 50/50 Flip. We also wholesale properties. We've gotten into land development. So we do a lot, and we're excited to share and help share and empower others.
Nice. You've done a number of different types of real estate, right? You listed a few there. I know before we got started, you mentioned a mobile home park and some commercial real estate, and you all are really good at seller financing, some of that. Which is your favorite asset class?
I don't really have a favorite. My wife might have a different answer.
I would say for me, it would be multifamily.
Okay.
Buy and hold. Definitely.
And why is that? Why would you say multifamily, and how do you look at that?
For me, multifamily, it's less of a headache, because I've done the property management for our business. So before we outsourced it, when we got the TV show, we were in-house. I was handling all the property management. It was a headache. So for me, I think with multifamily, it's less of a headache when you have more units under one roof. And just to me, the numbers make sense.
Why don't you all speak to your roles a little bit within the business, individually, what you're focused on?
Yeah. So in our real estate business, I handle the sales and acquisitions. I handle putting together financing, whether it be bank financing, private money, hard money. I also handle dispositions as well. I've been doing a lot of the social media posting for our brand. Krystal is more of the visionary, has the vision for where our brand is going, and I'm more the integrator as far as putting the tactical pieces together. So that's the real estate side of our business. What would you say your roles?
For me, I handle a lot of the marketing. So I have a team under me, but I'm the one who is typically in charge of the marketing that we do for our business. And as far as the wholesale business, buy and hold, just generating leads for our business, I handle all management, customer service. I'm the brand visionary for our company as well. And then a little bit of everything.
She's also
else.
a serial entrepreneur. So we have like 7 different LLCs. So every couple months, she's like, all right, we're starting a new business line. Most of it's related to real estate, but she loves starting new things.
That's awesome. That's every business needs one of those, right? And then they need to integrate and say, wait a minute. Right.
Absolutely.
I'm not sure how we're going to do that. Why don't you speak to that process a little bit, as far as the visionary, the integrator, maybe how you all think through those ideas and determine, is this something that we want to pursue or not?
Yeah. So when we first got into real estate, we were in a mastermind and we came across the book Traction by Whitney. And it really spoke to us because as soon as we read it, we were like, okay, she's clearly the visionary. I'm clearly the integrator. Although there's some times where we overlap a little bit, but it really fit and we were able to develop our roles and kind of an accountability chart based off of that. So again, when we have new ideas and new opportunities that present themselves, again, she's looking at them through one lens as far as the big, huge, what can this be? And then I'm looking at it through the lens of, okay, how do we make this happen? Or who do we need to make this happen?
Right. And that's for real estate or any other businesses that we get. So before we got into real estate, we owned some franchises. And we literally probably had, since we were dating, maybe 7 or 8 businesses together.
Too many to count.
Right.
But real estate has been the one business that's really stuck, and we've been able to really find our home with all things real estate investing.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. It's incredible when you can distinguish those things, right? That you see through this lens, you see through this, and that going into different ideas and thoughts. Speak to your plan to that financial freedom. Let's talk a little bit about maybe the push that you all have right now, or the goals that you're pushing towards that's going to help you achieve that financial freedom for you and your family, your kids, like you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, we both I grew up in a single parent household. My mom raised 3 boys by herself up in Boston, Massachusetts, grew up on Section 8. I was blessed enough to go to some really prestigious schools. I received academic scholarships to a private high school and a private college for academic scholarships. And that really opened up a lot of doors for me. Always wanted to be an entrepreneur, always wanted to be my own boss. And, I am proud to say that we are financially independent through real estate investing. We don't have to work if we don't want to. We love what we do. So we're going to continue to work and build. Our goal is to acquire about 10,000 units over the next 10 years so that we can really create true generational wealth.
Yeah, I would definitely say the reason we got into it and what we tell a lot of people is we got into it with the end in mind, right? For me, it was where do I want to end when it's all said and done with real estate? And where that was with my children having a lot of the opportunity and advantages that we didn't have, right? So from the moment I got into real estate, it was never like, hey, so what are we going to do? Are we going to wholesale? Or are we going to fix and flip? It was, we're going to buy and hold. That was our main goal. And our main goal was to buy and hold. So we have something now that we can pass down to our children and then their children's children's children, right? So that was, and that is our main goal, is to make sure that our children have a lot of the benefits and advantages that we didn't have, right? Make their struggle a little less, but it can't stop there, or a lot less. But I'm going to say a little less because, we don't believe in just giving our kids anything, right? If we give them a business, it'll be sold as soon as we hit the dirt. So we're not giving them anything, but we're teaching them entrepreneurship. Right. So they value the hard work that we're putting into it today for tomorrow. And that's really the end goal for us. It can't stop with our children, because if our generational wealth only spans one generation, then we really didn't do much, to me, in our eyes. So it really has to benefit 4, 5, 6, 7 generations spawn off of us.
Love that thought, and that you brought that up, like teaching our children entrepreneurship and not just handing everything to them. I mean, some of the harder things that happened to me, even when I was young and becoming a man, were things that shaped me in a big way, right? And helped push me to be an entrepreneur, helped push me to be able to get back up, when I get knocked down. Those things that shape you in so many ways. Speak to some practical ways maybe that you all are teaching your kids to be entrepreneurs or to have that mindset and think like that.
Yeah, so we've been blessed to be able to send our kids to private schools through our real estate investing efforts. My wife, she went to public schools, so we value that education we've been able to give them. And our 8-year-old, he actually had a entrepreneurship project in his 3rd grade class where they had to create a business, and not just a business, but actually a business plan, and they had to present it.
So it was called Spartan Tank. So a spin off of Shark Tank.
The school mascot Spartan, so it was called Spartan Tank, right? And my wife, you want to tell you kind of went.
Yeah. So for me, entrepreneurship is everything. I've been an entrepreneur since I was 18 years old. So for me, it was all about kidpreneurship for them. And I told my husband the moment that they're old enough, which our son is 8, he'll have his first business. Right. So that's kind of where my mindset is. I know people support kids before they'll support an adult. So if he can get into it now and develop that thick skin, that's a job well done for us. So for his business plan, we literally sat down like we would do for me and my husband when we are evaluating a new business. And we literally just started brain dumping on what type of businesses he want to own, what does he want to do. And we're teaching him step by step the tools to putting this business together. So from doing that, we started to see his wheels turning. He literally birthed a business. I think we did it over the course of like 2 or 3 weeks. With it had the financials, it had demographics, literally the target market, marketing materials, you name it. It was in this little, and I mean, of course, we went above and beyond because that's not really all. They didn't ask for everything, but he literally had to present it just like Shark Tank. And it just so happened we were one of the judges for it. And I had t-shirts made with his business logo on it. We had a logo created. And then I bought t-shirts for the entire class. But it wasn't something that we did. He actually started to build this business himself. He started saying, hey, listen, no, I don't want this. I want that. And it was just amazing to see that he was doing it and he was interested in it. And even now for the real estate, when you say, hey, how are we getting them involved? We take them to these houses. We show them what we're doing, what it entails to flip these properties. We show him buying the materials. We show them. And so now our son is like, hey, when he drives by, he told us, he said, whenever he sees a plot of land, he automatically starts to think about what could go there. And I think that was such a proud moment for me because it shows me his visionary skills. At 8 years old, he was like, Mommy, I want to do something with maybe, what did he say? Architecture, design or something. He was like, because I love just thinking of new buildings that we could build to put on land. And that's because of what he's been around since birth. Since he's been born, we've been in real estate, but just bringing him along and showing him this journey versus just saying, hey, listen, when he's 18, hey, this is what Mommy and Daddy's been doing for the past 18 years. That's what's most important.
Are you about to start a podcast or producing a podcast and tired of doing the editing yourself? We have produced over 1,000 daily shows, and the production team that I've created, they're now available to produce shows for you as well. We can do as little or as much as you need, from finding and communicating with guests, preparing introductions, to editing the audio and video. You will sound better, have a more professional presence, and be able to spend your time doing other valuable tasks on your business. Let me know you're interested by emailing me directly at whitney@lifebridgecapital.com. Incredible. I'm thankful that oftentimes things come up like this that I don't expect in the interview. And this is one of those things that I have a 7 and 9 year old or sons, and then a daughter that's much younger, but often thinking about, how to spur that in them, right? The entrepreneurial drive. And I love that idea of what's a business that you would be passionate about, and even helping them obviously think through that process a little bit. So how's that business come and like, what's his, how are you all kind of grooming him in that business? And is this something that maybe can continue, or is this like a thing that's like, okay, a couple of years of this, or 6 months, or maybe we need to do something else?
And then
it's crazy. The business plan after it was over, and we had other judges who were there and teachers and stuff who were watching the Spartan Tank because it aired on their TV show, had contacted me like, hey, that business was amazing. I would love to know if maybe we could get that business plan. Like, I would love to start that. for my kids. And I've had like 3 parents contact me and a teacher about his business plan and his business. And it was really something that afterwards I thought like, hey, this would be great, right? And then my son was like, okay, so mommy, when are we going to go to the mall and talk to the mall about leasing some space? And I was like, leasing some space for what? He was like, my business. I was like, oh, okay. So
we really going to do this.
I was like, oh, so you really want to do it? He was like, yeah, I want to open up my space. And it was really a business plan that I was like, definitely could be doable, because we made it so that it's really a legit business.
Yeah.
Whereas most people, a lot of the kids was like, hey, I want to they were doing like Barbie dream house type businesses because they're 8, right? So there's like, hey, this is the Barbie dream house garage.
But they also don't have entrepreneurs as parents. So we actually created something real that can be launched.
Right. Yeah. So now when he said it, I was like, okay, well, I guess we're going to the mall and talking to the mall about getting this business in here. So he was like, yeah, I want to do this. So, but this summer, I told him, this summer, you'll have a business, one that you're going to have to work. You're going to hire an employee or what have you. And he was like, oh, I'm ready. I'm all for it.
That's so cool. Love that. I'm thankful this came up, or that you all are able to share about that and help other entrepreneurs that are listening to think about something like that for their children as well, and spurring that on. I want to move though to now, I love this like family dynamic and thinking through that and behind the entrepreneurial drive, right? And I know we talked about both of your roles a little bit in the business and the sales, acquisitions, financing versus, the visionary marketing side. And oftentimes that's how some of those things are separated. Not always, but it's interesting to see that. Speak to your all's, your dynamic, husband and wife wise, how you all, maybe a communication cadence about the business, or, how do you focus at home without thinking about the business, or do you? Is that even is that even a thing?
Yeah, it's definitely not a thing.
So I think we got to go back to our first date was kind of like a business meeting. We knew there was physical chemistry. I liked her. She liked me. So we got past that, but we're like, okay, what else is there, right? Do we align other levels other than just, the attraction of being attracted to each other? So literally, like, she was interviewing me. I was interviewing her on our first date. She was like, okay, what's your 3-year goals? What are your 5-year goals? Are you an entrepreneur? These are the type of questions she was hitting me with. And I was like, whoa, I'm not used to this on a first date. This feels like an interview. She was like, it is.
It is. And I was like, it is. I was like, what's your credit score?
You got right to the meat and potatoes. And then I started asking her questions. Like, okay, tell me about your credit score. Are you an entrepreneur?
Yep. And it was really because I was like, listen, I was in a different place at that time. I was all about entrepreneurship, building a business. I said, hey, listen, are you planning on staying in Boston forever? He was like, well, I mean, I don't have to. I said, oh, okay, good. Because anyone who's going to be with me has to be willing to move in the next couple of years, because I'm not going to be here. And he was like, listen, I'm not tied to Boston. So if I got to move, I got to move. But it was more so me. I know I'm an entrepreneur through and through. And so I needed to make sure that I was with an entrepreneur. And there's nothing wrong with not being with an entrepreneur, but I know how I'm wired. So I know only an entrepreneur is going to understand my mindset, right? They're going to understand me sacrificing the way I do for a business that may not have been built yet, right? They're going to understand me saving or spending every dime I have on a business, or me working. Like when he met me, I had 3 jobs. He had no idea why a single lady with no kids had 3 jobs, but I had a business, a nonprofit that I was funding, and all of this was being funded through my own pockets.
And family and friends you were.
And family and friends.
I see why you had 3 jobs.
Right.
We need to get a business set, a real business.
So from day one, it's always been about, hey, how can we build together? And so for us, even at home with our dynamic, it doesn't really get turned off, right? We love what we do, so we can talk about it. But there's other things that we love to do. There's other businesses that we want to start. So we still end up talking about business. We love vacationing. We love traveling. That's one of the things we always had in common. We always talk about our next trip, traveling. Our kids keep us extremely busy. And then we like having time to ourselves, right? So we have an 8-year-old and a 4-year-old. They take up a lot of our time. So we also like having time to ourselves, which is not often. But we do make sure we get in date nights regularly. And then we try not to talk about business on them. But what we do end up talking about is goals, right? And I tell people that's different. We talk about goals a lot because these are things that we still want to make sure that we attain as time goes on. So we'll sit on a date and we'll be like, hey, you know what?
Spiritual goals, family goals,
absolutely,
health goals.
Yep. Hey, listen, we got to get back in the gym together. Hey, let's do this. Let's start off with this. It's just, some way, shape, or form, our conversations are different. So they're going to be either business, they're going to be goals, they're going to be family. And it is hard to turn off. But when you love what you do, you don't typically want it to turn off.
Just like the first date, right? You all are talking about goals.
Right. First day out the gate. I didn't care what he ate. I didn't care about his favorite food. I didn't care about his favorite color because I wasn't planning on cooking it. I didn't care about any of that. What I cared about was what's in your head. That was it.
Yeah. Man, if you're not married and you're listening to this show, I hope you're taking some of that in. That's awesome. Well, we're going to change gears a little bit and a few final questions. What's been the biggest challenge in the business, say over the last 12 months?
It was really like building out a team.
Yep, I would say.
That was the biggest challenge. Since our television shows aired on national TV, we've attracted a lot of high quality A players to our team. So it's gotten a little bit less of a challenge, but that was the biggest challenge.
Definitely.
But now we're definitely hiring people in all different facets of our business ecosystem we've created. And we've got some really high quality talent that have come as a result of seeing us doing our business and doing real estate on television.
I know numerous listeners are wanting me to ask, how did you get on TV? How did you start your own TV show?
Well, actually, they reached out to us through social media. Through our social media following, and us just documented our journey with everything that we were doing on social media. They had actually found us through that and reached out to us numerous times. So it was a process over maybe a year-long process.
Nice. No, I know people were wondering, but also, what about any predictions that you have for the real estate market over the next 6 to 12 months? Are you buying, just selling, or everything in between? What are you expecting coming?
We are buying aggressively. So if you're listening to this and you know anyone who has a house for sale, land for sale, mobile home parks, apartment buildings, commercial, we are buying. We're bullish on the real estate market, especially the residential market. I mean, your listeners know inventory is a huge problem. There's hardly any inventory on the market. Even though interest rates have gone up recently and they're going to continue to rise a little bit more, we still see the residential market being strong, especially in the Carolinas and even up into Virginia for the foreseeable future, I say for at least for the next 1 to 2 years. So we're very bullish on the real estate market going forward.
What are some daily habits that you all are disciplined about? And then maybe focus on ones that have had the highest return.
I mean, for myself, it's praying every day, getting some time to kind of meditate as well. And then also reading, always reading several books, whether I go on a walk or go to work out, I'm listening to some type of podcast, some type of audio, and just putting positivity and information into my brain. What goes in is eventually going to come out. So I don't, I listen to music here and there, but I don't listen to half as much music as I used to. I don't watch as much sports as I used to. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just I'm focused on other goals. So again, those inputs are very important.
Yeah. For me, it is definitely meditation. And when you have 2 kids,
you got to go woosah sometimes.
And a husband.
Oh, I'm included in that.
Yeah, you included both. You got to pray. So prayer is huge for me. Daily prayer, morning prayer, evening prayer, night prayer. I'm literally praying throughout the day. I do love meditation and puzzles. So I am a huge puzzler, right? So I can literally, everyone knows, so I have a puzzle room. When I'm in here, mommy does not want to be disturbed, right? And it really centers me, which is crazy, but it centers me. I don't think about anything and my mind doesn't shut off, which is a problem, which is why the meditation helps me. But my mind never shuts off as a visionary. So I'm constantly thinking, even in my sleep. So puzzling definitely helps me shut everything off and just focus on what I'm doing. So that's what I absolutely love.
What's the number one thing that's contributed to your success?
Number one thing I would say is consistency. I think we've been consistent across the board and intentional. consistency and being intentional with everything we do from the very beginning of getting into real estate. We were very consistent and intentional with our why, which was generational wealth. From day one, it was buy and hold, nothing else. Everything else will be used to fuel our buying and holding. And we were consistent with keeping on track to, hey, from our very first wholesale deal, taking that money, rolling it into a buy and hold. And that's really unheard of because a lot of people is just like, hey, let me just stack. For us, it's been, okay, boom, we made this, let's hold it for a buy and hold. And we just kept wholesaling. So just being consistent with our plans and our goals has been our number one. To me, I think that's been contributed to our success the most.
I mean, to me, it's been God. We've been incredibly blessed. We work incredibly hard, but we've also been incredibly blessed. I mean, of course, you dream of being on television when you're a kid, but you don't. I guess you don't think it's really going to happen. But I mean, we've been able to achieve some of our wildest dreams, and that's all thanks to God.
How do you all like to give back?
Oh, that would be me. I do nothing but give back. So my husband says, listen, if she could give it away, give it all away, she would, which I would.
My goal is to make her a full-time philanthropist. That's what Rhonda Pathfield is doing.
Right.
Huge giver. And
not that housewives philanthropy, right? I ain't trying to just write a check. I got to be in the grind. I got to be out there building and really touching people and talking to them and helping them. So for us, even in our real estate business, a majority of our demo and demolition and clean out and stuff are done by homeless people. So we partner with the local homeless shelter,
formerly incarcerated.
So right now we are literally having our mobile home park that we just purchased. As we speak, we have a clean out crew who's literally cleaning 10 acres. And we partnered with this local nonprofit called Sustainable Aliments, where they employ formerly incarcerated individuals. And that's really what I love to do, right? So whenever I'm driving and I pull over and I give someone money who is homeless, I also give them a business card. And hey, listen, we're always looking for work, right? We're always looking to help people. And I tell people, our motto is you can do good live well by doing good. And that's how we live our life. You make a living by what you get. You make a life by what you give. And I've lived by that mantra since I was 18 years old. And that's how I like to run our business, which is why our company's name is Be Polite. And our motto is it costs nothing to be polite. The more lives that we can affect and help, the more we'll be blessed, right? So it's not about to us how many houses we can get, but how many other families and lives can we affect change in as well? How many other people can we get into real estate or get into entrepreneurship where they can change the trajectory of their family tree like we've done? So that's really my goal, which is why I want to go into like full-time philanthropy at some point, is really to change the trajectory of other people's family trees, no different than we did ours. We both come from single parent households, not the best neighborhoods, but God made a way when there was no way. So it can be done.
That's incredible.
She said it all on that topic.
That's incredible. I appreciate, the desire to give back in that way, and numerous things that you listed, even how you give back, how you think about that. I hope convicts some of us as well, but even how you're using these people and offering your business card that somebody on the street, hey, you need work. Here you go. Yeah. Right. I mean, creating a way for them, instead of just handing them a $20 bill, potentially you're handing them a lot more than that. I mean, just a potential opportunity to change their life. Right. If they make that decision.
Absolutely.
And so just grateful for sharing that, because I think it's a great idea. If you have a construction business in town or something like that, or part of your real estate business, there's so many things that somebody like that could get started doing.
Absolutely. And I always tell that to people, because a lot of people don't think about it, but there's a lot of work. And we've had people who are now doing carpentry and stuff in our business that started off because they were homeless doing just demo. And then our GC would see how well they were and how great they were because they were coming every single day and offered them jobs in their company. And it's happened with numerous people. Like I said, I give our business card every time I give money because I want them to take us up on the opportunity of changing their life.
Yeah. Wow. Such an incredible way to think about that and offer that opportunity. Appreciate you sharing that. I'm grateful to have met you both and just to learn more about you. But really, I'm pleased at how, our conversation shifted even towards the children and how you all are driving that just entrepreneurial spirit, in your kids as well, even the business, your third grader created and how you all work together on that. And it's incredible. I hope the listeners are thinking through that with their kids. I get that question often as well. And so I think you all have just shed a lot of light on how you all have done that so well. Tell the listeners, though, how they can get in touch with you and learn more about you, or maybe they have a property they know that's for sale, or maybe they want to invest as well.
Yeah, so we're on social media. If you just look up Dedric and Krystal Polite, we're on Facebook, Instagram. We have a YouTube channel. It's under Be Polite Properties, where we post a ton of educational, informational content on there. Also, you can find our television show on A&E. If you have A&E Network, or you search on demand, A&E
or
is called
Vudu, or all the Hulu, all the streaming sites.
Yeah, the show's called 50/50 Flip, and you can find us on there. And also our website, politeproperties.com.
Thank you for being a loyal listener of the show. Please subscribe and share it with your friends. We want to help you become the passive investor you've always wanted to become, but also the operator you've always wanted to become. We want to be the number one resource for your real estate investing journey. But go to lifebridgecapital.com, where you can start investing in real estate today.